Are there any metrics that you look to in consumer businesses that you're like, this is the most important thing to get right?
Yeah, I mentioned TAM. That's not really a metric, so I'll put that to the side. But the metric I look at the most with consumer businesses is like funnel and funnel health. So how much traffic are you attracting? And then more importantly, like how are you attracting that traffic? Is it paid? Is it organic? Is it branded search? Is it non-branded search? Is it your customers pumping the product yourself? Like there's a lot of nuance in that. And we spend a lot of time going pretty deep on that funnel and like understanding what's defensible in it and what's not. And I think you really, for consumer businesses to be successful, I think you have to have an unfair advantage there. So something in your funnel that's driving a flywheel, that's driving good organic customer acquisition, that could be brand, like something that's making your user acquisition very, very, very efficient is a key for consumer businesses, and probably what I spend the most time focused on.
So if you look at the pipeline, John, and you're seeing that most of it's coming from paid demand gen, is that a potential red flag?
That's a huge red flag for me. It's good while it's good, and then it's terrible when it's not. And so those economics could just erode really fast. I think they could be vital to like get a business going where you're spending on paid to, build your brand, get the flywheel going, get your first customers. But if you're overly reliant on paid acquisition, particularly at scale, boy, that can move against you super fast. And, unfortunately, I've seen that on numerous occasions where, new entrant enters the market. Google decides they want to do something. Like there's just a lot of ways that can break. And once it does, there ain't much you can do about it. So you're in a really tough spot.
Do you have to have a pretty good grip on your CAC payback period at the stage that you're investing in? Or is it more about like user activity and if they're coming back? Like, are you able to actually look at the unit economics at that level when you're investing early in a business?
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're growth stage investors, so our companies are at least 10 million in revenue, a lot of times north of there.
So they have real numbers on the users at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So there's enough there. If we were more in the venture world, you probably have to take a bit more of a bet there. But yeah, we're able to really see what the unit economics look like and are able to underwrite that. We passed on plenty of deals because it was too early. Like I remember we passed on the first Headspace round that another firm ended up doing because they actually hadn't been through a renewal cycle. Like we loved everything about it. We're like, man, something's really working here. There's a brand that's evident. All the economics look good, but they'd had like 4 cohorts that had been through a renewal cycle, and that just wasn't enough for us to underwrite. And so we ended up investing a couple of years later. But that was just too early for us to feel comfortable.
You mentioned having an unfair advantage. What do you think of some of these consumer brands that have partnered with celebrities like Honest Tea or the 50 things that Kylie Jenner is selling these days, or Mr. Beast Feastables? Do you think that's an actual competitive moat, or does that get diluted over time?
I think it can be a competitive moat. How sustainable it is, I think, is a big question. I mentioned Headspace earlier. Like we were the leader in the market, and Calm was coming up behind us. And I remember they got Harry Styles and Matthew McConaughey to record.
Yes, Matthew McConaughey. I remember that commercial.
Who wouldn't want Matthew McConaughey to read you to sleep? So it seems silly, but it actually drove an enormous amount of customer acquisition for them. Now, eventually we wised up to it and started bringing some celebrities on our platform and some different voices than the founder. And so, again, it was a great advantage of them, but it was a pretty short window. Like you can close those pretty quickly if you go out and get influencers on your platform as well.